Hey everyone. So we're almost at the end of the decade, and I thought I'd put together the all-decade team for Montreal Canadiens. So the Habs all-decade team for from 2009-10 to 2019-20. Um, yeah, so just the top, it would be four lines for offensive lines, three defensive pairings, and two goalies. The tops of the decade. Um, wasn't a great decade overall for Montreal, so I was a little surprised when I did this. And the names, I thought I'd find some more names than I did, but anyways, it managed to fill out a roster, and we're gonna put them on the board and see who they are. I'm gonna start with the goalies because pretty much there's not a lot of choice for goalies. There was Carey Price, and he didn't have great backups all decade. His best backup, well, anyways, I'll go through it. First, though, I'm going to give an honorable mention, kind of, because I think in 10 years when we do this video again, if I'm still around doing videos and I do this video again, this guy's going to be the same like Price, who was in for every year, and that is Caden Primo. Now, I know he's only played 2 games, but this kid looks really good. I'm going to go out on a limb and say, well, if you can't see it, that Caden Primo will be he'll be prominent in the next decade, and it's worth putting him on this list. I don't know. That's my reasoning. Okay, so now let's get to some more serious stuff. So number two for the goalies, and it's funny that he's number two because it was the big controversy at the time when he was here, and that's Yarrow Halak. No other backups play, and I think by 2011 he was gone. So he was the best backup or best other goalie other than the number one guy, who is obviously Carey Price. So for in nets, it was pretty easy. I didn't really have to look it up. I just wanted to see if there were any goalies that I forgot about. But it's basically Price, Halak, and I'm going with Primo for since he played in this decade. He's played 2 games in this decade. I doubt he'll play another one in this decade, but he's played 2 games, so he qualifies. Okay, so next up would be the defense. I picked out 6 guys that have played defense in the 10 years that I think are the best that have been here. Now, I'll start with the least, I guess, best of them. And that would be a guy who just came back from injury, is Victor Mete on the left side. Victor Mete, who I think is going to be a very good defenseman for Montreal. I hope they don't trade him away. Um, Believe me, out of all the names I saw, if you're going to say, well, he's young, he hasn't done a lot, but Mete is one of the best we've had here. And don't forget, it's just for the decade. That's it. Second guy on this list. How do I want to put them? Well, I'll just go left to right, left to right. So on the left side, on the right side now, Jeff Petrie. Jeff Petrie, who, when he came here, he was very promising. It took him a couple of seasons, I believe, to find his, to come into his own here. And he is definitely our I would say at this point now, our number 2 defenseman. Um, I guess there's an argument to say he's number 3. You got Weber, Sherratt, Petrie. So right now, currently, but Petrie definitely one of the top 6 guys to play in the 2010s. Next up on this side is another newcomer, but proving to be a very good defenseman and very good signing, is Ben Sherratt. Ben Sherratt on the left side, very good signing. Took him a month and a half before he really found his way in this system, but you can see he's much more comfortable. He's putting in super big minutes and playing with Weber. And now, not only is he playing with Weber, but he's looking right at home playing with Weber. And definitely one of the top 6 defensemen to play in Montreal in the last 10 years. Next up from that is going to be part of that big trade, PK Subban. Obviously, PK Subban has to be on this list. Played here for from 2010. I'm not sure when he started, but he was here at the beginning of the decade and was traded away a few. I guess we're in the 3rd season now. So PK Subban, in the top 6 defensemen for this decade. That's just about to finish. Next up from that is going to, and I don't know if he played right or left side, and I might have Subban wrong, but anyways, I got to go right and left. Is the guy that a lot of people wanted to see come in this year after 3 years away is Andrei Markov. Andrei Markov, without a doubt, one of the best, right up there with Weber, right up there with Subban and all that, one of the best defensemen we've had play here in that decade, and one of the best defensemen legitimately of all time for Montreal. He was a good defenseman, played here a long time. Next up, you see I've got 5 in there. It's obvious the next guy that's on here, right? Our current captain, Shea Weber. Shea Weber, great captain. He's becoming. I like the way he. A captain should be the guy that kind of is the center of the team. As far as the players look up to him, he just is like a father figure almost, like Jean Beliveau. I think of Jean Beliveau. You want to think of captain for a hockey team? Jean Beliveau is the guy, and Shea Weber is doing a very admirable job to be as close as he can to be a Jean Beliveau. I really like Shea Weber. His numbers are good. Finally seeing a great season from him, a healthy season from him. Knock wood. But Shea Weber definitely in the top 6. So we've got our defensemen, Markov, Sherratt, Mete on the left side. I think they're all on the left side. Weber, Subban, Petrie on the right side. Our goalies, Price, Halak, and Primo. And we're moving up to the forwards. Okay, so the forwards on this team in the last decade. Okay, so for the forwards, I'm going to start on the right side. We're going to work away for each category from bottom to top. So on the right side, in the 4th spot for the right wingers is Andrew Shaw. I know it's a bit of a stretch. He didn't put up a lot of points, but Andrew Shaw was a really good winger, a really solid teammate, a tough guy. He'd step in any situation, and he was very a gung-ho kind of player, rushed the net. I liked the way he played. I surprisingly, because I was writing it down, I was going to overlook Shaw, and I realized it's not much else. But Shaw was a really good player. We miss him, but they traded him at the right time because he's right now out with a concussion problem. He's going to be out for a while. Mark Bergevin made the right move. Next up above Shaw is another guy, a guy that's on the team right now, having a breakout year. Hopefully he's not hurt. He's out with an injury. Hopefully, I haven't heard anything. It's Yoel Armia. I don't know anything about the injury. They haven't released anything that I've seen. So Yoel Armia is a power forward type. He's a big, strong forward, having his breakout year, coming into his own. I believe he's only 25 or 26, so he's just entering his prime. And I think the sky's the limit. His ceiling, there is a ceiling for him, but he has not reached his ceiling. He's definitely going to have a career high in goals, probably assists, total points. Going to be a career season for Armia. So he is number 3 of the right wings for the decade of 2010 to 2020. Second on this list, played only the 1 year, wouldn't sign, but still one of the best we had here, and that's Alex Radulov. Alex Radulov, he spent the 1 year, 50-odd points, was a really solid player, good attitude as far as always showed up to play, didn't take too many nights off. I really liked him. The only thing I didn't like is that he left for a little bit more money. I think he should have stayed, and team would have gone a little farther anyway. But Alex Radulov, number 2 for right wings for the decade. And the top right wing, I think it goes without saying. I don't even know if I have to even put it here. Everyone should know our top right wing is the heart and soul of the team right now. I'm going to put it, his nickname, Gally. That's Brendan Gallagher. Brendan Gallagher, by far the best right winger we've had play here for the decade. What can you say? Like I said, the heart and soul of the team. When Shea Weber retires, I fully expect Brendan Gallagher to be the next captain of this team, although things can change. Just love that guy. He's on pace for another career year for goals, And can't say enough about Brendan Gallagher. Definitely deserves number one spot on the right wing for the decade. Now I think I'll do centers last. I'm going to go to left wings. So on the left wing side, in the fourth spot, he's a guy that's currently on the roster, and that's Paulie Byron. Not having the best season of his career right now, out with an injury, should be back soon. But Byron is one of those players you can put him anywhere, and he could play anywhere from a game to a month, like on a top line. Um, what do they call it? Swiss Army knife kind of player, can play anywhere. Oddly enough, when I was doing this list, his first season here, he was listed as a center. That caught me by surprise. I don't think he ever played center, not that I ever heard of, but a great fourth line winger on this team. Like I said, not having a great year, but that could change when he gets back. Next up in the third spot, again, another guy currently on the list, on the roster, is Arturi Lehkonen. Arturi Lehkonen, last year, at the beginning of the year, I would have told you I think Lehkonen should be traded. At this point in the season, and even up to a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago, when I was talking that they need to make a trade for a defenseman, I was saying I could. They're probably gonna have to get rid of Lehkonen to do that, and that would be okay. At this point, I don't know. Lehkonen does so many things away from the puck, and his offense is starting to come around, especially in the last like 6, 7 games. His offense has been good. He's got like 5, 6 points in that time, and he's starting to come around. But the things he does away from the puck, away from the play, behind the scenes type of stuff, he's almost invaluable. So Arturi Lehkonen, number 3 for the decade on the left side. Number 2 on the left side, his first season, he was here as a center. Didn't work out that way. That's Jonathan Drouin, who's out with an injury right now. Was on pace to have a career year, had 15 points in something like 18 games before he was hurt. The team struggled to win games after he went out. Hopefully he'll be back shortly in the next week or so. Jonathan Drouin about to really hit I think he's only 24, so he's not even at his prime yet, but about to hit the best years of his career, in my opinion, and definitely one of the best left wingers we've had here in the decade. So that brings us to the top left winger. Before I write it, can you guess who it's going to be? I think it's going to be obvious if you know the positions, and that is Patches, Max Pacioretty. I should remember how to write it. Max Pacioretty on left wing, definitely our best left winger of the decade. Put up a ton of points, a good goal scorer. Things just changed. A person has their time wherever they are, and eventually greener pastures are needed because, you need that kick for the career to get back on pace. But Pacioretty was without a doubt our best left winger in the last 10 years. So that gets us to centers. Hopefully I have room here to do them. Now for the centers, I've got 5 centers. Oddly enough, because center has not been our best position for the longest time, our strongest position. But oddly enough, I've got 5 centers to put up here. 2 I'll put on the same line, and I'll tell you why. So in the fourth position, I think probably the best fourth line center that we've had in the last long while, and that's Nate Thompson. Nate Thompson, 35 years old, late in his career. He's a spark plug. He is like a dog with a bone, and I just love this guy's game. He plays at a fast pace. He plays great defensive game. He's great at the face-off circle. I think he's the best fourth line center that we've had in the last 10 years. So as a fourth line center, Nate Thompson, definitely up there. Now the third pairing, it's going to be a pairing because I think that they're going to be really great. And it probably tells you who they are. But I'm going to put Nick Suzuki and Jesperi Kotkaniemi in the third position because, first of all, they're rookies. No, KK's not a rookie. They're young. Suzuki's a rookie this year. But the promise that these two guys have the ceiling are amazing. We haven't had 2 young centers on this team like that in the longest time. especially as young players that we're developing. And I'm telling you, everybody, watch these two guys. You're seeing something here. If you're a hockey fan, you're seeing something that hasn't been here in a long time, and that's developing two young potential superstars. So that's KK, Jesperi Kotkaniemi, and Nick Suzuki. And in the second spot, and we're almost at the end, in the second spot for center is Thomas Plekanec. Plekanec, however you want to pronounce it. Thomas Plekanec was a very steady, solid shutdown kind of center. Could also score, could also give you offense, all that. Just a great all around center, I thought. Long term here. Started out really kind of when his first couple of seasons. I remember him making a comment like he played like a girl, stuff like that, and we made fun of him. Turned out to be just a great, solid center, deserving of the second spot for the decade. That's for sure. So that leaves the number one spot. I don't know who you think it might be, but there wasn't a ton of choice. And I'll tell you what, the guy who's in the spot here really deserves it. He's currently on the team. That ought to tell you something about who he might be. I'm going to write it right now. And that is Phil Deneau. I'd never heard of Phil Deneau until they traded for him. And even then, I hadn't heard about him. I was listening to games that season, and they were talking about this young kid, Phil Deneau, probably put a little bit too quickly into that high position to be a center. He just adapted so well. He's come so far. He is an excellent two-way center. He is not that far away, in my opinion, from being a legitimate number one center, elite in this league. He just needs a little bit more offense, but that seems to be coming because this year looks like another career year for offensive production for Phil Deneau. He's great in the face-off circle. His Corsi numbers are skyrocketing good. He just has a way of controlling the play when he's on the ice, of keeping the best line of the other team at bay. He wins so many important face-offs in both zones, and just a great player, and I think our best center of the last 10 years. Okay, so there you go. My top players of the 2010s for the Montreal Canadiens. If you like the video, give a thumbs up. While you're on the way down there to do that, subscribe and ring the notifications bell. And that's going to get you your daily fix of talking Habs, of Bleu Blanc Rouge from Talking Habs, the home of Habs hockey, where everything's dedicated to the Habs and all things hockey. And I'm supposed to say that at the beginning of the video, and I didn't do that. So I'm going to put up, which way? This way? A couple of videos there. Hope you'll enjoy those. Please subscribe, ring the notifications bell, give a thumbs up, and go Habs, go! I got to get used to doing that with the new camera. Find something else to do. Thanks, everybody, for watching, and have a great evening and a very Merry Christmas, what's left of it. Bye-bye, everyone.